What if you use system screens in ProPresenter? And sometimes you want to turn them on and sometimes you want to turn them off, but try as you might, you can't remember the keyboard shortcut, and moving the mouse up there, that's just, sometimes you need to do it faster. Is there a way to have dedicated buttons to do that? Well, yeah. And let me show you how. Presented by Church Tech U, it's the ProPresenter Show. On today's show, how to have dedicated on and off display buttons for system screens in ProPresenter. Hi and welcome again to the ProPresenter Show. This is the show where I teach you all about ProPresenter. My name's Paul Allen Clifford. And before we get started, if you've ever wished that you could just have a panic button that you could reach over to and either turn on, off, or even toggle the screens, system screens now, tell me about it in the comments below. So someone was asking about this, and I'd come up with a couple of different actions, and then Dan Owen, brilliant Dan Owen, I love him to death. Someday I've got to meet him in person. He's Australian, and I'm, of course, from my accent, American, and so we haven't bumped into one another quite yet, but he came up with this obvious solution, and so I thought that I just had to share this with you. So let's head over to my computer and we'll take a look. So I want to show you basically what's going on here. So let me get to the page where I have that over here, and we will go from there, right there. Okay, so right up here, you see where it says audience and stage. Now, first off, keep in mind that this only works for system screens. So if you're connected directly to your computer with an HDMI, maybe it has some sort of dongle that changes it into HDMI, but it's not a BlackMagic dongle that changes just a regular Thunderbolt signal into HDMI or SDI. It's not a DeckLink card. You're not sending it out with NDI. It's just a regular monitor output. In ProPresenter, you can turn that on and off, and we do that with these buttons up here. Now, there is a keyboard shortcut, so you can do Command 1 on a Mac or Control 1 on Windows to toggle the audience screen, and you can do the same thing with the stage screen. So, only stage screen is 2. So, Command 1 or Control 1, Command 2 or Control 2. That's what those two. Screen 1, Screen 2. Think of it that way. Now, the way that I like to think about this is I think about these not as show and hide the screen, but show and hide the desktop. So, what I'm going to show you is going to show or hide the desktop of the computer, as opposed to show or hide the output of the screen. So if I were to turn this on, this has actually turned on the output that is on one of my screens on my computer at my desk. And if I turn that off, it goes back to normal where I've got other software underneath it. That's why I've done that. So same thing for the stage. So what's going on here with these two? How can I make that just a single button there? Well, we're going to use a free piece of software called Companion. It's from a company called BitFocus. And so if I pull this down, we will see the admin. Let me just give you the website for that. That's bitfocus.io. And you can sign up if you, it's totally free to sign up, so feel free to sign up. Then once you have your login, you click sign in. You fill it in with your email and password. That is my email. Notice you can't see my password, but I've told you all that you can email me, so no big deal here. And then you can find these different things. The one that I'm using here at the desk is Companion Pi, so it's actually running off of a Raspberry Pi. So it just has power and a network connection. it's not USB all the way to the computer. So that's what's going on there. If you just wanted a regular computer, Mac or Windows, or even Linux for that matter, then you could just click on regular companion, go to downloads, and then download the appropriate one. So you could do that as well. Well, I'm going to show you this. Now, keep in mind, this says version 5.0.1 as I'm recording this. Well, if we go over here, you will notice that I am on 4.0.3. That's because this is on an older version and I just didn't want to take time to upgrade it on the Raspberry Pi that it's connected to. So it may look a little different, but I'm going to show you just the basic procedure that I went through, because notice that, here, let me move this over here and move this over here. Yeah, so pay attention to what's up here in the upper left hand corner, and I'm going to move this over here, because right now you see hide audience and hide stage are red, and right here you'll notice both of these are red. Well, if I were to tap the show audience button and notice that this will blink, it will also turn green when I do that. Well, it should have turned green. I've got to take a look at that. Maybe I forgot to save something or something. Anyway, then that's what I did, is I just clicked that on my Stream Deck. Same thing for show stage. Did that, and now that's green. I also have these two buttons here in the middle, and they are toggles. So I can toggle that, and on and off. See, goes back and forth as I'm pressing that. Same thing for stage, on or off. Or with it on, I can hit hide stage, and with it off, I can hit hide audience. So that works. Now let me show you what I did for each of these buttons. First off, I gave them a name. I believe that that is different in version 5. I haven't upgraded to that yet, but I need to. But if we head back over here, let me hide myself real quick. Basically, what I've done here is for show audience, I added the ProPresenter API. And so if we go up here to connections, basically I did a search and then I added this ProPresenter API here, and then I put in the IP address of my ProPresenter computer and the network port, both of which are actually shown in the network tab of ProPresenter settings. So that's where you get those pieces of information. Okay, and then go back here to buttons. I clicked on that, and then I did a search for ProPresenter API and screens. And then once you do that, we have show, hide, and toggle. So you just select the appropriate one. So let me just show you from scratch. So I click on this, select create button, and let's call this toggle both. Let's say I wanted to toggle both screens. I'm going to change this to 14 because it fits a little bit better there. So that was just the font size, doesn't matter all that much. Now I can go down here to ProPresenter API at operations. I can also do a search for ProPresenter. I have a shortcut in text expander for ProPresenter because I type it so often. And then we can go down to screens. Here, let's go down to screens operation, and that's where I can do show, hide, or toggle. I can also decide between audience screens and stage screen. So let's start this one with stage screen, and I'm going to change this, or audience screen, and I'm going to change this to toggle. Then I'm going to add another one. It's already in the list here, and do the exact same thing. Change that to toggle, but change this one to stage. And now this one will toggle both of them. So let's go back here to ProPresenter and look up here. When I hit the toggle both button, I just need to get to the appropriate page where that is. There we go. Okay, now when I hit toggle both, they both toggle on. Hit toggle both again, they both toggle off. So that's pretty cool there. Now, what if I wanted to have feedback on my button? This is what I thought that I'd fixed as I was setting up, but I didn't. So let's go here to feedback and go to add feedback, and again, ProPresenter and screens, and then hide myself here. So what this does is, if I wanted it to be green, so here we have it red, so in order for that to work, I've got to invert this, because this is basically saying that when it's on, change to this color. That's actually the opposite of what ProPresenter does. So that's what invert here does. Now, if instead I wanted it to be green when it was on, I could go down to this green, and it should be the case that that does it. So let's try doing that. I can also click here and select test, which I think I'm going to do here. And it did turn it on and off, but it's not giving me the feedback. So that may be something that I need to figure out what's going on here with this, because when this is off and it's set to green, and now if I test it again, it doesn't switch back to red as I would or green as I would expect it to. So might require a little bit more work, but you get the general idea there of what's going on. So that's how you can have those buttons. Now, do you need a Stream Deck to do that? No. So if we head back over to the software, notice next to buttons we've got another place that says surfaces, and if no, that's not it. Maybe interactive buttons? Yes, interactive buttons, and then I could go to web buttons and pull it up right there. So that's something that I could do that there as well. Just basically do it from a web browser, as long as I have the IP address of the computer that is running Companion and then the port number, then that's basically how I could do it. Now, I will tell you that once you start using Companion, you're gonna figure out more and more good ways to use it. For the first month, I thought, oh, this is nice. And then I had an idea. And then that idea made it easier. And then I had another idea. And before I knew it, I had all kinds of stuff going on. I mean, you can see this. This is even an experiment that I'm playing with here, to maybe someday do some stuff with a T-bar and an ATEM video switcher. So all kinds of stuff going on here, but it's all made possible by companion, which you can get at bitfocus.io. And this is how the user interface is once you've installed it to control ProPresenter. Now, I admit there's a bit of stuff here. And so I'm going to create a PDF cheat sheet for you. So if you want that, just head on over to tdm.fyi/progifts2608, because I'm going to release this either right before August 2026 or early in August 2026. So 2608, 08 being the month. Give me your name and email address once you've selected that gift on that page, and I will make I'll just go ahead and email it over to you. Till next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford from TrinityDigitalMedia.com and ChurchTechU.com, reminding you to go out and change eternity.